Every few months inside of Diablo Immortal, metas change, and a class or two rise to the top as the largest damage dealers or the most efficient classes to play in PvP. That time has come, and I have a class for you today that is doing insane damage. Now, because of this, it's actually brought forward an announcement that I need to make for all of you a little bit later on in this video. Now, as many of you know that follow my channel or follow my account, I typically stick with a class for a long time. I've been a barbarian for probably half of my time in Diablo Immortal. I switched over to a wizard and played wizard for 4 months and really enjoyed it. And now I've been as the crusader for approximately 2 months since I came over to the Treasure Goblin server. And I really do enjoy sticking with a class for an extended period of time. But sometimes in doing this, it makes me miss out on some of these meta changes. Now, the meta change today that I'm going to share with you is absolutely insane, and it's for the Druid class. So a little bit of story to go along with my realization that the Druid is actually insane right now. Last night, I was running a bunch of dungeons, spam dungeons, with a bunch of people from my warband, including Gwyn. And Gwyn has just changed, as you can see, to the Druid. And the Druid in deer form drops insane damage. What I was doing was I was running along with her and my other warband mates in dungeons, keeping up, just trying to drop as much damage as I could, which, let me tell you, I wasn't dropping much at all. And I came to realize that Gwyn in this Druid class was doing literally billions of damage. At the end of one of the dungeons, it was near 3 billion damage. And when I saw that, it solidified my realization that I need to jump on some of these meta changes. So the announcement that I have for you guys is me sharing that I'm gonna be starting a brand new series on the channel where every 2 weeks, I switch from one class to another. Now, this may not be something that's too insane to you, but for the way that I play, it is quite different. I'm going to be playing all of the classes, one after the other, every single 2 weeks. In that time, my goals are to do a few things. One, figure out how long it takes to farm the essences and the best ways to farm those essences. 2, figure out what the best builds are for that particular class and share it with all of you. 3, interview some of the biggest players that are currently playing as that class and share that with you so that they can give us tips, tricks, and even some more builds for that class. I think this is something that's going to be extremely fun, and then at the end of this entire thing, I can tell you which class I think is currently the best. Now, of course, I'm going to be a little bit sad leaving my melee characters like the Crusader or like the Barbarian, my comfort zones. But I'm going to be able to dive on the latest trends and give you guys information that's going to be relevant to you if you're trying to stay up to date on what classes you should play. And like I said, this is going to be changing every 2 weeks. So I'm just finishing up now as the Crusader, and I can say I absolutely love the class, both for support in PvE and in PvP. And these class changes are going to be starting this week. But now, let me share with you the build, a quick look into the build that Gwyn is using in case you want to use it right now. Let's start off with a quick overhead view of the build. Here you can see she's utilizing Slinger, you can see the skills that are being used right here, and you have the legendary and you have the green set items. But let's take a little bit of a deeper look with some more detail. The set items being used here are, first of all, Restitution in Blood. This is the newest set, and it is one of the sets that I'm currently using as well for my Crusader, but she's using a 4-piece of this set. And again, just for a little details here, dealing damage to an enemy applies Faded Prey to them for 2.5 seconds, increasing the damage you deal to them by 35%. Faded Prey cannot be applied for more than 4 enemies at once and can't be applied to the same enemy more than once every 15 seconds. She's also wearing a 2-piece of Vthu, which is pretty safe to say that almost all classes are at least wearing the 1 group set or the 2-piece of Vthu. And she's wearing Gloomguide's Prize, increases your damage done by 15% for 3 seconds after using a dash skill. Keep in mind, the the deer form, I believe, is considered a dash skill. So if you're continuously spamming deer, you're continuously getting that increased damage done by 15%. And of course, all of the essences being used here. Now again, part of changing classes is going to be me having to farm a lot of these essences. Most players don't have all essences unlocked on all classes, unless if you're someone that farms multiple classes, and I know that we do have a couple of friends that do that. I am not one of them. I typically stick with the class that I'm at. So when I switch to either Druid or Necro or whatever my next class is going to be, I'm gonna have some farming to do. Let's take a look at some of the essences here. First off, Fire Tornado conjures a hurricane of flame that follows you, burning nearby enemies. You have Thorn Armor, now creates an area of thorny vines that follows you, continuously damaging nearby enemies and infecting them with smoldering siege, which explode. Then the Stag, this is the big one. Stag Charge generates 3 primal power each time it hits an enemy and can't trigger more often than once every 1 second. Remember, Primal Energy, something that I haven't used since the Druid launched a couple of months back, probably actually close to a year back at this point in time. Then we have Stag Charge, now causes you to sprint forward using Stag, during which you're immune to loss of control and knockback. That's going to be sweet as well. Fire Tornado generates an additional 1 primal power per enemy hit, up to a maximum of 10. Thorn Armor damage also shatters enemy armor, increasing the crit chance by 15% for 3 seconds, up to a maximum of 45%. Raven Swarm, I never used that one very much when I was the Druid, now conjures a storm of ravens that follows you, continuously consuming primal power to gradually increase damage from Raven Swarm. And Raven Swarm deals 38% increased damage to burning enemies. These are the essences. Now, this was a very top-down look at this class and at this build. I didn't go into any gems. I didn't go into any stats. This was just the basics, which honestly is probably what most of you need to put something like this together. But as I get into this series and start looking deeper into each of these classes on a bi-weekly basis, I'll be giving you more in-depth guides, breaking down every single element of the build. So essentially, you'll be looking and you'll be seeing 2 builds per class every 2 weeks, 1 for PvP and 1 for PvE. And they're not just going to be builds that I put together, but ones that are put together by the community of some of those high-level players that really have some solid builds to share. So what happens next? Well, we've been playing as Crusader now for 2 months, and I've got quite a few builds that I really do like. As it sits right now, I'm using 4 builds fairly regularly for the Crusader. A support build, a farming and dungeon build, a PvP build that was shared to me by Snake the Vile, and a PvP build that I used the most of my time here as this Crusader class. So what I'm going to do for you guys before I leave Crusader is give a handful of guides on these builds and a master guide giving you all of the builds for the class. Then I will do my class change and start things fresh, farming new essences and seeing what's up with whatever the new class is that I choose. Now currently, the meta has made the Necromancer and the Druid extremely strong, so it's probably going to be one of those 2 classes, but we'll have to see. Now let's take a second and thank Gwyn for sharing her Druid build so all of you can get an early look at it if you happen to put the build together before I dive into the class, farm the essences, and build it out myself. And as always, I like to take a look into the community, and this Happy Mouse 8426 is a comment that came through that I absolutely love. They say, well, I'm 65 years old and retired. I stand at 300 something Paragon, Demon Hunter, Hell 3. I love my pet. He throws boulders efficiently at the monsters. I am having trouble in some dungeons alone because no one wants to join in. So I pondered way too long on those trees and none of them helped. They kept dying. I don't know what they mean by those trees. Maybe they're talking about the spectral allies. I said, what the heck, and went with the cursed, oh, they're talking about Paragon trees. I went with the cursed tree and have been using the good effect lashed when it was on gear, so lashed it was. This is interesting. This is the first person I'm seeing that's actually using the lashed Paragon tree. It was a good choice. My primary hits 1 row with chains, strafe through the caltrops, and turn around to hit with the multi-shot that knocks them back into caltrops. finish off with Rain of Vengeance as I run away and any stragglers hit with lashed again. So with the caltrops, there's words in here I don't even know or I haven't seen before. Anyways, I love the comment and want to finish off with, and laugh manically as I wade through monsters. Scares the cats and my husband though when we played a Diablo up, the original Diablo up to Diablo 3, and I thought, what the heck, I'll try Diablo Immortal. Good times. Wow, that one was hard to get through, but what a comment. I absolutely love it, and this just proves to us that even when there's something that comes to the game like the cursed paragon tree that many people don't love, some players do use and enjoy those things. And it also shows that we have new players of all ages joining us inside Diablo Immortal every single day, and it's our job to support those players. Not only me as a content creator, but also you guys as community as well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let me know what you think of the upcoming series dropping on my channel, as well as what class you think I should play.